name is TJ Scott. This is my video reaction number 5 for business law. So, video number 5 was on immigration. It varied from everything from immigration stories all the way to immigration policy, and then putting it right back on the people. What are we going to do about it? I think the most important thing to take away from this video, it's not really mentioned, but to me, the most important takeaway from this video is the fact that we're able to have this conversation. The fact that the speaker was able to speak on these things, that he was able to, kind of attack something for the greater good, and also a conversation that people don't want to have very often. This immigration conversation is one that is kind of taboo to most conversations when it comes to socializing with other people. People are scared to talk about it strictly because there's so many different opinions. But I think a big point throughout the video that he does touch on is a lot of people do have the same viewpoints. It's that people are scared of those that don't. And he does believe, and I also believe, that there are a lot of people that wish there were changes to immigration policy. They just don't know how to go about it, and a lot of times it's not directly affecting them, so they don't do anything about it. But what he's really advocating for is that we do something about it. So going into the hard details of the video, the speaker came to the U.S. when he was 14. He claims that he's in the mix of basically being an immigrant and an American. He was right in the divide between, okay, I understand pieces of my culture from my home country, but I also came to America and I'm growing up in an American society. So it puts him in a unique situation, but he also remembers how hard things were for him growing up. He discusses that he lived in a one-bedroom apartment. His parents would sleep on a mattress in the living room. But he jumps right in and says that he didn't consider himself in poverty. He didn't consider, he claims he thinks of poverty, he thinks of Oliver Twist, kind of sleeping on the dirt floor, dirty, begging for change, things like that. It's something I disagree with in the video. Basically, he says, some immigrants are living in poverty, and then some aren't. But he says those some that aren't have experienced the poverty. Something that I disagree with isn't anything to do with immigration. It's poverty as a whole. Poverty is not limited to begging for change on the streets. Poverty is a vicious cycle of struggling through life economically. Poverty is under $22,000 a year financially. I think it's $22,500 a year financially. Poverty is so much more widespread than I think people realize. When you think poverty, you think of those people begging for change, but it's so much broader than that. Just something that he touched on. So he says some immigrants lived in poverty and some don't, but many experience it. And if they don't experience it, they feel the impact of it. But they're hopeful and they're constantly dreaming, hoping that there's a better future coming for them. Then he kind of jumps right in and says immigration used to be different. A century ago, immigration was beat up by nature, sickness, distance, disease. But a key point, and this is when he really starts to jump into what he's advocating for in the video, is that today, immigration suffering is caused by man. It's caused by policy making. And it's not about the distance traveled anymore. It's about the separation from relationships. It's a key point in the video that he's basically saying, I'm going to now jump into what's happening today and why it's happening. Immediately puts the blame on the policymakers, politicians, and basically the government as a whole. And then back to us for not doing anything. He's not very negative when he's talking about the people not doing anything, because I think he realizes that this conversation as a whole is reward. That's a success, having this conversation. This is a big point that I think a lot of people need to realize. This might upset people that might watch the video. This country was built on immigration and immigrants. Everybody from outside the U.S. realizes it. I'd say a majority of people inside the U.S. realize it. It's those subtle few that are speaking out against it. it's interesting to me. You know, you can trace your family back generations upon generations to find out where you really came from, and then I think it hits home. Um, so he brings up a nasty truth, an unfortunate truth, but it's a truth in that Americans are afraid of immigrants, scared of losing their job, and scared of economic disparity. Uh, it's not true for all people, not at all. But some people are scared of immigrants. They're scared of losing their jobs. Those more or less skilled workers, they are scared of people coming over while they're adapting to American culture. Maybe they do take that job because they are more hardworking. They have stronger integrity. They have more values because they desire something more. People are scared of that. Um, so this is when he kind of comes right at the politicians. He says they set policy without any input. Um, and these laws and policies over time haven't changed. Um, he gets into more of the vicious contact that these policies have had with people. Um, I'm trying to kind of get back to the business law aspect of things. You have to understand that these people in the hiring process and any of these processes are being affected by these things. Not just immigrants, but immigration policies in themselves can affect the American people. Um, we don't understand who these people truly are. We don't understand the character they have. We don't understand what they're attacking when they get to America. You know, career-wise, what they aspire to do. We're judging them purely based on a passport. Um, we shouldn't judge them on that. We shouldn't judge someone's character. We shouldn't judge everything that they're aspiring to do based on some simple numbers. Um, so why do we allow other people in this country to choose who we let in? Why are we allowing these policymakers? Why are we allowing these politicians to make this choice for us? This is a key point in the video. He ends with this, very impactful to me. I'm certainly going to remember this part of the video. He says, don't let this opportunity pass. This conversation we're having is just as important. We believe in something as a people. Why aren't we doing something about it? So, from the business law aspect of things, I think it's just really important to keep in mind that these policies are in the change, they are in the mix, and these policies exist. It's also important for employee morale as we get into kind of the business aspect of things. It's important to understand that these policies affect people a lot more than just the physical aspect of saying you can't come here or you have boundaries within this. Overall, really good presentation. Really enjoyed it. Definitely put an emotional touch on things. He got kind of emotional throughout the video. It definitely allows you to go a little deeper within yourself to find out how important is this to you. And he really begins to touch I think some heart and then also some pride in people. Definitely for viewers, you definitely begin to view this subject matter in a completely different perspective. Thank you.